your starting hunt of a lifetime. I know that you saw this need. Was there someone contacted you, or you just kind of came up with this yourself?
No, I came up with it myself.
Okay.
I was driving school bus. I'm a school bus driver. That's my paycheck. I don't take a paycheck from the foundation.
Okay.
I call it my tithe to the Lord for making that happen.
Paying back a little
Paying
bit.
back a little bit,
Okay.
because if that guy from Safari Club's heart wasn't tugged by God to move forward, Matt wouldn't live to see his hunt. So it was my thank you to God for making it happen before he died.
And that personal experience gave you the motivation to, like I said, pay back a little bit. You knew that you weren't the only one.
Right, and that's what I said. You know, how many mothers out there,
Right.
like our Indiana co-ambassador, her son Jason went to New Zealand for elk. Well, she don't hunt and she don't fish, or red stag. She don't hunt and she don't fish. So she wouldn't even know where to begin to even get into how do I get them out.
Sure.
So I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to start this. I'm sure I can find a lot of people out there that have the same heart the guys up in Canada did.
Yeah, there's a lot of people here that would probably want to help.
Right. So I turned around and I went to find out what it costs for a license. And it's $100 in PA to start a Pennsylvania nonprofit. Well, my bus driver friends had collected money, like, you know, everybody does for funerals and stuff. And they collected $104.
Okay.
And then I went and started running ads in. NRA was very, very helpful. They ran Matt's story. And then at the end they said, there is now an organization to help these kids just like Matt fulfill their dreams. Please contact. And then they had my name and phone number. And people started calling and started sending donations.
Wow.
Because NRA is a big magazine, so you got the right people on board. Well, on the negative side, my husband's not a believer. And he kept telling me, you're nuts. This isn't going to work. You're not going to get enough outfitters, or you're going to have too many children and no place to put them. And I'm like, okay, I really need a sign from God that says this is where you're meant to be. And I told him, I said, I'm one of those, it takes a slap in the face. You can't just hint. You got to really hit me down and say, okay, this is how it's going to be. So I said, you better show me, and you better show me loud and clear, because I'm not going to take hints. I got a call December 20th or 21st. And anyways, the man called and said, I'm a godfather. My godson got a brain tumor right before he was supposed to start hunting, so he never made it out hunting. And he would like a whitetail, just to do a whitetail hunt in Wisconsin.
He wasn't looking for
No,
anything.
no,
How old
yeah.
was his godson?
His godson was 14.
14 years old with a brain tumor, and he just wanted to go deer hunting.
Right. So I get back
Makes me want to help.
Yeah, right, right.
I'll take him out, yeah.
So I get back to him on the 24th, Christmas Eve. And I said, you know what? It just so happens that 2 weeks ago, a gun club in Wisconsin had called me up and said, if I ever needed any help, give them a call. What are the odds? You're calling for a Wisconsin whitetail hunt, and I just had a gun club come on board 2 weeks before this.
There's your slap in the head.
There's one of the slaps in the head. It's Christmas Eve, and I'm talking to a godfather for a godson. And the third strike, you're out. If you don't get the message, you're in trouble. The third strike or slap was, I said, what is your godson's name? And he said, Matthew.
Oh, no.
Matthew.
My gosh. I can't imagine how that would have affected you.
Oh, I just looked up and I said, I'm sorry, I'm going to cry. I said, thank you, God, you're giving me another Matthew on the most important date, because my mom was no longer with us. Matt got diagnosed the same year that Mom died. So 1995 was not a good year for me. My mother died, and she was more my best friend than just my mother. Matthew got diagnosed with cancer in 95.
Oh.
So 95 wasn't a good year. And then here comes this young Matthew with the brain tumor. And like I said, what are the chances that a Wisconsin gun club had all the connections to make a deer hunt happen?
Yeah. So did the hunt club get him set up on a...
Oh, yeah. He got a beautiful 14-point buck. Wow. Huge buck. And they had the whole thing taken care of. All I had to do was hook them up with him to get to the outfitter and make sure everything was finalized, and away they went.
Yeah. So your first chance to give back was to another
Matthew.
Wow.
So like I said, I looked up at God and I said, what a present.
Yeah.
What a great Christmas Eve present.
Well, and now we're in 2010.
Yep.
How much has it grown since then?
We have 49 states with an ambassador, or more than one ambassador, depending on how much the state's active. If they need more than one ambassador, we split like in half so that an ambassador can stay one way and the other one could go the other way, just because there's so much going on in some of the different states. And we have 4 provinces in Canada with an ambassador. Wow. We have an African ambassador, a New Zealand ambassador, and we have a personal contact for Mexico and Brazil for certain fishing trips. Okay. So we have a lot of people on board.
That's a lot of growth in a relatively short time.
Right. Cabela's dresses our kids with a parka and bibs, sometimes boots, depending on what time of the year it is. Savage Arms sells us the rifles for the children at material cost only. Okay. They donate the rest. They donate the labor, the time that goes into it, and shipping it, and we just pay for the bulk dead price as to the material. McKinsey Forms takes care of all our taxidermists. They send them the glue, the tanning supplies, the forms, the glass eyes. There's nothing that a taxidermist doing a kid's mount has to worry about except for the labor he's putting into the kid's mount.
That's great.
We do on an average 70 kids a year. An average hunt costs about $5,000 between airline tickets and motels. If we have to pay for a hunt, you're looking up to $15,000, depending on where they're going and what they're hunting. Africa actually is cheaper than Alaska.
Wow.
Yeah, because Alaskan moose and bear we can't get, but the father's companionship, non-hunter free, and maybe a discount on the child.
Okay. What kind of criteria is there for someone to contact you and say, can you help my son or daughter with a hunt?
The child has to be 21 or under, because I figured when Matt was 18, I was looking. It was going to take me a couple of years to get out there, get the word out. So I didn't want to miss the kids in 98 that were just finding out that Make-A-Wish is no longer doing it. Okay. So I thought, okay, well, 21 and under, that'll give me a couple of years to catch all these kids. And then that way, I can make sure that I catch them in time that they can get out before they turn the age that we couldn't do. So it's 21 and under. It's life-threatening illness. And there's no bottom age cutoff, okay, because cancer is not picky. I've had a 4-year-old. I had a 4.5-year-old from Louisiana that went through the system, was going to do a whitetail hunt, and all he wanted to do was do a whitetail hunt in his own state. So
at 4.5.
At 4.5. That's the first thing I tell them. The parents will call me up. He had a brain tumor. The parents will call me up and they'll say he wanted to do a whitetail hunt, and he said he's 4.5 years old. And I said, does he even know how to handle a gun?
Yeah, that seems kind of young for being able to go through hunter ed and learning how to be able to hold a gun.
Right. Well, he said, you know what, ma'am? He says, we're in Louisiana. They're kind of born with a gun on the way out. That's the type of hunters we have in Louisiana.
And you do fishing trips, too.
Yeah, we do fishing trips. That's where we sent the little 3-year-old was to fish in Hawaii. We do fishing trips because we figured if PETA knocked Make-A-Wish into dropping hunts, eventually fishinghurts.com is going to hit Make-A-Wish with fishing trips too. So when I started it, we started with fishing trips too. So,
I mean, you're looking at Alaska. You've had some kids go up to Alaska for salmon fishing.
Yeah, salmon fishing, halibut, wingcod, Hawaii, Mexico, Brazil for peacock bass. We've sent a young man there. We actually have one on the books again this year. Working, making sure the child's legally fits the program, and then handing it off to an ambassador. Okay. Because it's easier for our ambassadors in Indiana, if I say, hey, I got a child that wants to hunt in Indiana, for them to find somebody in Indiana that might want to donate the hotel, or somebody that'll donate the food for the camp, or you know what I mean? It's easier for them in Indiana than it is for me in Erie.
So if there was somebody in Indiana that was a outfitter for deer hunting, turkey hunting, fishing, they could actually contact your ambassador here in Indiana. They could contact you, and
they could contact either one of us, the ambassadors. We have 2 ambassadors in Indiana and 2 co-ambassadors. We have a Northern Indiana ambassador, Gary Birch, and then we have Bill Spears as the ambassador, and Patty Spears is his wife. She's co-ambassador, and our good friend Patty Loeffler, whose son has cystic fibrosis and went to New Zealand for Red Stag. They're the co-ambassadors with Bill. They could get a hold of any of the 4 people that are under ambassadors, or they can go right to the website.
That's what I'm saying. You've got a lot of information online. Go ahead and give us that webpage address.
www.huntofalifetime, all one word, .org.
Okay.
There's forms on there for the kids to apply. There's forms on there for an outfitter or a fisher boat captain or a taxidermist to say, hey, I want to help you. I'm going to do these kids for free. Or I can't give you free, but can I give you this really good discount? And yeah, we'll take those. And we have people that are just Tom, Dick, and Harry come on board and say, hey, I have 400 acres of prime hunting family ground nobody else is allowed on, and we have these blinds already on it. Can I take a kid out? As long as they're willing to fill that form out. Give us 3 references, phone numbers, and one of the references has to be somebody in like the police organization or a school district organization, because they will already have their back clearances set. So,
well, Tina, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. The Hunt of a Lifetime organization is just something, it tugs at your heartstring. It makes you want to participate. If you want to read more about Matthew's story, it's online, huntofalifetime.org. You can also go to that webpage and find out how you can donate time and money to help these kids that want to get out of doors. And we'd like for you to stay with us a little bit. We're going to cut to a commercial break, but we're going to be back with our Indiana ambassador to learn a little bit more about what we're doing in Indiana. And Tina, thanks again.
Oh, you're welcome. You're very welcome.
Looking forward to hearing more great stories from your organization.
Thank you, hon, very much.
All right.